So, you want to make a biopic. Who is it about again? It doesn't make a difference. We'll use Rocket Man, the Elton John biopic, as an example. 1. The flash-forward intro. This could be a live performance, a breakdown, a speech. It gives us a reason to care about what's about to happen next. The troubled childhood.
What were you like as a child, Elton?
As a child?
The subject will display some suggestion of giftedness, but they will also receive a core wound that will inform their behavior for the rest of the film, be it abuse, abandonment, loss. 3. Discovery of giftedness. Someone will recognize their ability as singular. This could be someone from their industry, a parent, a teacher, a mentor. 4. The breakthrough moment. Something happens that brings the subject into success and/or the public eye. This usually is accompanied by a montage of headlines and cameras flashing. 5. The cost of success. Their core wound from childhood could rear its ugly head, or their ego inflates, or the pressures of their newfound position causes them to make out-of-character choices. 6. The downfall. This could be a scandal, or a failure, or a breakdown. And usually it's where the opening scene comes from. 7 is reflection. This could be rehab or just solitude and introspection. Sometimes an exposure to media causes the subject to reflect. It can often be a conversation with or call back to whoever discovered their giftedness. 8 is the comeback. There could be a redemption performance, a reconciliation, an achievement. They maybe don't rise to the same level of fame and success as they did earlier, but they find something that is more gratifying for them. 9. Words and pictures. Before the credits roll, you get some text on screen explaining what happens after the point where the film ends. And this grounds us in the fact that this was about a real person. The subject doesn't actually matter. This is their life now. Now, don't get me wrong, a film having a predictable structure is not inherently a bad thing. All narrative films have certain beats in common, and all films of certain genres have more beats in common. And that structure helps an audience make sense of the content they're seeing. My issue is that biopics claim to be structured around a person's life when they're actually structured around a structure. It feels contrived, and I am tired. Issue 2. The tiptoeing. If a biopic is about a living person or a person with living family members, they're often directly involved in the production. Or even if they're not, there's often a fear of offending them, or a fear of litigation. So a lot of the thornier parts of a subject's life are cut out of these biopics, even if those thorns would make for a more interesting and sincere story. Issue 3. A biopic is a slam dunk whether or not you try. You aren't really forced to innovate to make a biopic that will be successful in every possible way, except maybe with critics. Like, if the biopic is about an already famous public figure, you can bet that their fan base will buy tickets to see it in theaters, which is a guarantee of profit that a lot of dramas don't have. It's also the most straightforward way to highlight an actor's skill. If they're imitating someone we already know and they nail it, it feels like an objective measure of their ability, more than them playing a fictional character. And actors win awards for playing real people all the time. In fact, more than half of the lead actor and actress Oscar wins in the 21st century have gone to actors playing real people. And because biopics are based on real lives and real struggles, some people feel like it's too touchy to critique the films. And the people who do are malicious and haters. I kind of just think it's a machine that needs to be smashed. Conclusion. Not all biopics. The biopics I do love are the ones that are so structurally different that they're hardly even biopics anymore. Oppenheimer comes to mind. It's nonlinear, and it's presented as an interpretation of a person, and not as that person telling their own story. Amadeus is not historically accurate and is not interested in it because it's structured around themes. And even though it's about Mozart, Salieri is the narrative voice here, sort of like the role of Oppenheimer's Louis Strauss, but expanded. And Superstar, a Karen Carpenter story, is a whole can of worms that I'll have to get into some other time. But in general, if I hear that a biopic is coming out, I find it hard to be excited about it, let alone go see it. But I'll have to get over this if I continue to talk about movies on the internet. That said, as exposure therapy, if you have a biopic recommendation, let me know in the comments. Who wrote that?